Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this regular April Board of Education meeting to order. The time is 7:31. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A lot of the students here. It's great.
Thank you for coming tonight. We're going to get started with some recognition. We have some art students. We're going to start with Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see everybody here. This is our favorite time of every board meeting. We get to celebrate our students, and tonight actually celebrate our Board of Education. So the first group of students went to the Connecticut Association of Schools Elementary Arts Festival. The ceremony recognizes elementary students who demonstrate outstanding citizenship, cooperative skills, and outstanding artistic ability in performing or visual arts. Two fourth grade students are chosen by Mrs. Schumann, our music teacher, and Ms. Johnson, our art teacher. Along with the talent in the performing or visual arts, the students must also follow the school's expected behaviors, contribute positively to their school community, and act as role models to other students. Tonight, we are recognizing for the performing arts, Johnny Ortiz Palacios. I don't see her in the crowd, but I will make sure she gets her certificate. And for visual arts, Cannon Witcher. I will meet you around there, Ken, and give you a nice handshake. Congratulations. And after we're done, Mrs. QG will take a picture of you, okay? Way to go. All right, and the next group of students we have are Invention Convention representatives from the elementary school. So we have 5 students that we're going to recognize tonight. First is Macy Meagle from first grade. Macy's invention, the Peaceful Pup. Macy is not here tonight either. Bailey Boothroyd from grade 2 with Handle Helper. And now I saw these 3 here. Jay Polanini, grade 2, the Mess Minimizer. Alana France, grade 4, with Bug Out. And Allie Ruffo, grade 4, with Save a Pen. So what we're going to do after, we have one more piece of communication that we will share. Then we're going to go out into the atrium and take a look at your projects, and you can talk to us about what you put together for your invention. So thank you for being here, and we can't wait to hear more about it. All right, so the last thing we'll do before we take our recess is announce our new Lebanon Middle School principal, who will be starting on July 1st. Before I do that, I do want to thank Mr. Laskerzewski for all of his years of dedicated service and wish him well in his soon-to-be retirement again. So after a lengthy and rigorous interview process, we're thrilled to announce the new Lebanon Middle School principal, Mr. Chad Johnson. Mr. Johnson, would you come up to the front here? So I'll read a little bit about Mr. Johnson. He began his teaching career here at Lebanon Middle School, teaching physical education from 1999 to 2004. He moved on to teach as a member of the science department at Norwich Free Academy, ultimately becoming the science department head. In his most recent position, Mr. Johnson serves as the assistant principal of Killingly Intermediate School, where he's responsible for over 350 students and supervises staff in grades 5 through 8. Additionally, he's the coordinator of 504s, leader of the response to intervention team, and champions student attendance. He has led successful training in the implementation of evidence-based ruler approach to social-emotional learning. Mr. Johnson's also coached cross-country teams at the high school and college level, in addition to be a pretty good athlete himself. Mr. Johnson's excited about the awesome opportunity and looks forward to sharing a communication of his own with you in the near future. As a district, to provide for a seamless transition, we are strategically planning some events for Mr. Johnson to attend so that you can all get to meet him and get to know him a little bit better. And we'll make sure that we share those dates with you. Mr. Johnson, welcome to Lebanon. Thank you very much. I got a little shirt to have you officially be a part of the team. Thank you. So that's for you. I don't know if you wanted to say anything.
Very briefly, thank you so
Yes.
much. I just wanted to say how excited I am to be back here in this capacity. I ran a cross-country camp over the summer for many years here, and then my sister's in town, obviously, so I come through here all the time, but to be back here today, it feels different, and I've got all the kids behind me, and so the way I can describe it is like getting ready to open up like a brand new container of Play-Doh, and then like being like ready to like mold it and play with it and see what you can make of it. So it's just, I feel so renewed just as soon as I like got into town. So I'm really excited to get going, and thank you very much for entrusting me with the most precious resource that the town has. I greatly appreciate it. I did, as part of the interview process, have written a letter to the community. I made a couple copies. I'm just going to pass them around, and if you guys want to include them in your minutes, feel free to do so. And thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. I look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, welcome. And now the time is 7:37. We are going to take a 10-minute recess so that the Board of Education and those that are here tonight, we can step outside and get to enjoy those inventions. So thank you all for coming and enjoying the recess with us.
Alexis, I love her.
One more minute.
Such a stickler.
Yes, you were specific about the 10 minutes.
Okay, the time is now 7:47. We will call this meeting back to order, coming out of recess. That brings us to some communication. We have some letters of resignation.
So the first letter of resignation comes from Devin Allegro. He's resigning from his grade 3 teaching position at Lebanon Elementary School. He appreciates the opportunity that was given to him to grow and develop with his colleagues and the professionals that he's worked with, and he wishes the board and the staff good luck and success in the future. The second letter of resignation comes from Aaron Gilberto. He's a school counselor at Lebanon Middle School. Aaron was in a one-year position and understands that this position will not be coming back next year, but he looks forward to the time that he has with the LMS students through the end of the year and the new opportunities where he can use the skills that he's gained this year to best serve students. He appreciates the support that he's been given throughout the year. And the last letter is from Kimberly Glazier, chemistry teacher at Lyman Memorial High School. And her letter reads, "Please accept my letter of resignation from Lyman Memorial High School effective at the end of the 22-23 school year."
All right, thank you very much for sharing those. At this time, we will have our public participation. Lebanon Board of Education bylaws read that we will allocate 30 minutes for public participation, with each speaker allocated up to 2 minutes. At this time, are there any members of the public who wish to speak this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to our consent agenda.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second that.
Motion by John, seconded by Maureen. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. All right, we'll move on to our student representatives report. Hi, Lexi.
Hello. I haven't seen you guys in so long. I know. Mr. Abaselli is not going to be here tonight, as you guys may have noticed. So I'm going to be reading some from his report and some from my own about the recent happenings here at Lyman. So, I have two Mr. Abaselli reports because I brought one myself. So, Mamma Mia recently happened March 10th, 11th, and 12th. Friday night, opening night, sold out, which was pretty exciting. The Lyman boys basketball team went to the Final Four for Class S. This is the first time since 1967 that the basketball team has made it this far. And Jaden Lopez was named a Class S All-State player. The juniors took SATs, and the freshmen, this time for the first year, took PSATs as means of better preparing them for the SATs when their time comes. We had our first elective fair in preparation for the course selections. So students will be choosing all of their courses for next year, and the electives fair helped students see all of the electives that there were available at Lyman, so they could make better and informed decisions about courses. Our CNA course is getting students before the course signups had even started. A number of students took the entrance test and successfully completed it. News Channel 8 will be visiting Lyman on April 5th to do a spotlight of the turf and landscape program, drone program, and the new animals in the barn. Spring sports started on March 18th for pitchers and catchers, softball, and baseball. And track and tennis also started up. Baseball had their first game yesterday against Killingly. Boys tennis had their first match yesterday against Montville. Girls tennis will have their first match tomorrow against Killingly. Girls softball had their first game today against Montville, and track will have their first meet tomorrow at Bacon. We had several field trips recently. Mr. Brody took some of his students to Woodstock Academy for a human rights symposium. We had a Project O field trip on March 30th as well, and seals were spotted at this field trip aboard the Project O boat. Miss Grogan said our chapter here at Lyman made us proud at the district public speaking contest held at Ledyard High School. Mr. Strout wanted to put in a word about the wrestling season that ended. Cameron Samarco was a Class M wrestling champion and finished 6th at the state open after having an injury, which didn't allow him to finish out the season. 2 girls that were part of the wrestling co-op placed 4th and 3rd at the girls' states, and we had 4 athletes that were named ECC All-Stars, and we also had 4 ECC honorable mentions. Mr. Fabry and Mr. Elliott wanted to let us all know about the ECC Athletics Leadership Conference, which was held at Foxwoods Lake of Isles. Students from across the 19 ECC schools listened to presenters and worked together to discuss various aspects of leadership. There were also Mr. Apacelli uses big words. They were also working with other athletes from other schools and discussed how to handle various scenarios that are occurring in high school athletics today. Also, you guys can see pictures. There's a picture of our athletes at Lake of Isles, and there are also pictures included from photography classes. And then we also had a career day recently where people from different professions came to educate Lyman students about what they do and how they achieved their career goals. All seniors have completed their senior projects, and juniors have started preparing for their projects. And Lyman students have picked their classes next year, and we have officially entered the fourth and final quarter of the year. So,
Yes. It's hard to believe, huh?
yeah, it's coming to an end.
Thank you, Lexi.
Yes.
Any questions? No? Okay. Thanks so much.
Right, thank you.
Have a great night.
Is this for me?
Yes.
Thank you. I hope you all have a great night.
Thank you.
Totally skipped over that part. Do you mind if I
No, go ahead.
I am so sorry with seeing the students here and celebrating their great accomplishments and their projects. I totally skipped over Board of Ed Appreciation Month. And wanted to give you a small token of appreciation for all that you do. You see the note where we thank you chocolate. So hopefully you'll enjoy some sweet treats and maybe a refreshing tea or coffee and think about your volunteer efforts that are amazing and really appreciated by all of us in Lebanon. So thank you for all you do. And if you want to have memories of your time, you can jot them down in this beautiful notebook.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye, Lexi.
Okay, we'll move on to our reports of our committees. Let's start, Dawn, Safety and Security.
We met, and there's nothing more to report than what's in the minutes.
Okay, great, thank you. Danelle, Curriculum.
We met this evening and had a wonderful data presentation on our assessments and where we're at in each building. We also had updates on all the professional development that's been going on since February. And we also had updates on our new, the reading curriculum, state mandated reading curriculum, and they're proceeding well with that. How's that for brief?
That was very brief.
It was a long meeting. I just want to get the details right.
And if you have any questions on the packet,
Yeah.
Danelle would answer those or get the answers for you.
Did everybody get one of these?
Yes.
Oh, great. Thank you, Rita, for doing this.
John, Superintendent Eval.
The Superintendent Eval Committee has not met. However, I sent an email out today. The process of the evaluation has started at the start of the fourth quarter. If you have any questions about the email I sent, just give me a ring.
Great, thank you, John. Negotiations, Alexis?
Happy to report, we had our last meeting of this calendar school year. We will have an executive session for action items later on this evening for our secretaries and our paraeducators.
Sounds great. Thank you very much. And Maureen, policy.
Policy met. You have lots of minutes in your packet, and we will have a large set of minutes after I finish typing them up tonight, and we'll plan another meeting.
Moving along in that
Moving along.
policy manual for sure. Nicole, facilities.
Okay, so we met twice because we did not have a Board of Ed meeting last time. So on March 7th, we talked about the tennis courts, emergency repair from non-lapsing, and I believe the tennis courts are all set. Track, we talked about how that needs to be repaired in the sum of about $200,000. The track is usable this year, so we were going to talk about our next steps. Girls' locker room, between $30,000 and $60,000. We were going to use athletic capital and non-lapsing to complete that. The LES gym floor, on March 7th, John Jarvis made his holes and determined that water was coming from the outer doors. Brandon Hanfield was slated to come in next to analyze. Next, scissor lift is here and usable. Something about flooring recommendations, is that LMS, I think? Yes, because that has to do with the asbestos for Barton Engineering. Yep, so Kevin sent forth flooring recommendations. And then the scoreboard is slated to come on April 13th at LMS. And it's not April 13th yet. And then we talked about the contracts, snow removal. The town was not interested in collaborating with us. Landscaping, we will research bringing this back in-house, and the boiler, we were waiting for some bids. Then on March 21st, we met again. We talked about the locker rooms. That would equal $37,740,000 all of those sinks were replaced in-house, and we used an operating budget for that. And I believe it was 74 lockers plus another 50 that were a different size. LMS asbestos, April 1st to the 3rd, the bid package was released. A walkthrough was recommended for April break, not sure if that was scheduled. And then, that's it. LES gym floor. Mystic Air did a quality air analysis, and they found that the air was perfect. Next step, we were awaiting Brandon Hanfield to come in. And then the solar company needs to come in and fix leaks in our roof, and I believe Andy just got in touch with them, so that's good. And then contracts, we were talking about how the landscaping is out to bid now, boiler is out to bid, and then we were talking about moving up the snow contract a little bit earlier so that we can have the bids happen in May, just so we can get a good company. That's it.
Great. Go ahead, Andy.
Just a quick update, we did move up the asbestos walkthrough, but the earliest we could get was April 18th.
Okay.
So that's 2 days after break.
No problem.
Any questions on facilities? All right, thanks, Nicole. And
Yes. Enrollment also met on March 21st. Well, first we talked about the ASTI program, and I'm sure these numbers are more, but as of March 10th, there were 10 out-of-district, and as of March 21st, there were 17 out-of-district enrollees for the ASTI program. Then we talked about preschool. We were gathering information from families from a survey that Andy sent out. He was also sending out to the library programs, and we were going to have those back by the beginning of May so we can look at the responses. And then just continuing recruitment efforts. We were thinking of ideas like hosting an 8th grade dance at Lyman, visits for the 7th grade to Lyman, not just 8th, an intro video for families to the middle school kids. We can bus LMS kids to Lyman for drama not LMS, I'm sorry, they can walk to Lyman for drama production, sorry. Maybe I was thinking LES. Advertise our course selections and collaborative sports between Lyman and LMS, which have found to be successful in the past.
great. Go ahead, Dawn.
I'd just like to add to that. I have one comment and one question. Because you just said collaborate with LMS. I know it's town, it's not, but the kids are in the elementary school. They got to play in the gym here for basketball, and it's like they're just it's like the highlight of their lives right now. So it might be nice to also collaborate with the town in some way. I don't know that that's possible, but they loved it.
Was this for a town program?
It was, yeah, because they don't have, it was basketball.
Okay.
It was, it's through the town.
It was like the rec.
Yeah, the rec program. And there was a conflict at the middle school on that night, and it was tournament games.
Yeah.
So they were able to play up here, and they just had the best time. And then I'm noticing that there's a jump in 7 students. Do we...
For the ASTI program?
No, just general...
Enrollment.
Enrollment. Is that typical this time of year? Like, I don't remember ever seeing a jump like that. It's very exciting.
It actually is somewhat typical because of our rolling preschool screenings.
None of them are preschool. There's 1 at the elementary school. There's 4 at the middle school and 2 at the high school. Because I looked specifically at the...
Yeah, we did have some just random kind of move-ins. So those...
Yeah.
That's not really a pattern, but we're happy that it's happening and hope that it continues.
It's not what it's going to become.
Yeah.
Nice. Great. Thanks, Nicole. Brian, finance.
So we also met on the same nights as facilities, both March 7th and the 21st. Since most of the 7th was covered again on the 21st, I won't bore us with those gruesome details, but emergency expenditures are up and running. The water heater and heat wheel, the heat wheel came in earlier than expected and was installed. Water heater is probably somewhere around close. It was supposed to be about 2 weeks from our meeting on the 21st, so that should be around any time. Camera additions were about 90% complete. There was some money remaining there, so the superintendent was going to investigate what else we could do with those if we had any other dark spots, so to speak. As far as information technology, Jacques and his crew have been getting the new desktops, we got monitors and keyboards in. Computers are being shipped on March 23rd. I'm guessing that they're either here or close. Half of the new Chromebooks were received, and the next 35 were already ordered. So doing well there. 22-23 budget. Ms. Valerie, I'm sure we'll go through it tonight, so I'm not going to cover that. Grants, as far as the safety and security grant, I don't know if Andy had any more information on that than what anything else since the 21st of March.
Yeah, so Sonia Richmond, who works with MutualLink, is supporting us and helping develop the narrative to put out for the safety grants. Those are due April 28th, so we're still not done with that. And then Len Rosenberg from Eastern Datacom reached back out too. So both those companies are, trying to stay in touch and support the process in hopes that we can get those grant fundings and possibly be able to move forward with those projects.
And then the operating budget narratives, Andy and Valerie have already found some time to start working on those, so that's great. Just one thing that was not part of this that I found out a week or so ago. It appears that the Appropriations Committee for Capital is, because of all the recent school shootings and stuff like that, it sounds like they're working to find more grant money available for towns that have not utilized any like we have in the, thus far for safety and security, and for, perhaps more inner city schools that may need to up what they've got. So there may be more to come on that as well.
Oh, let's hope.
Thanks.
Great, thank you. And as far as governance, I don't really have anything for governance right now, but I did want to fill the board in case you were not logged into the Board of Finance meeting on Thursday night, which they voted and approved the budget, and included in that budget is a 4.3% increase for us, along with a $10,000 increase in capital. And Andy's going to talk about that as part of his superintendent updates as well. But, generally really pleased at the collaboration. There was a lot of recognition of, we've asked the Board of Education to increase their enrollment. They've done that. And that's evidence, there's evidence based on the tuition money that's coming in. There was a lot of recognition and a lot of our efforts, providing clear and transparent communication to the Board of Finance. There was a lot of really positive comments that were made, which was really, really great to see. I definitely feel like there's a step in a really positive collaborative effort. One other thing that was discussed, and Andy might want to touch on this also, but was the long-term study. They had discussed in one of their meetings developing a committee that's a collaborative committee, and we all discussed this before as well, but having some type of a committee based on community members, Board of Ed members, Board of Finance members, Board of Selectmen, if we are going to move forward with a long-term comprehensive study. Now, I am not 100% sure, but from what I can see in that budget, I don't see the $100,000 that we've asked for the study in that budget. Doesn't mean necessarily that the Board of Finance is not going to support it at this point. I think there may be other potential options for where that money might be coming from, potentially a town surplus at the end of the fiscal year. I don't know that that's necessarily, like I said, 100%. And again, I've only taken a brief look at what they're putting forward, what we're going to be talking about at the public hearing on April 17th. So hopefully we'll get a little bit more insight at that, but I think it's all pretty positive, so I don't know if I missed anything. Anybody wants to pop in? Go ahead, Danelle.
You said they are pushing forward 4.3?
4.3 for the Board of Education. 4.32. Oh, thank you.
And we wanted 4.61.
6.
Right. Okay. Was there discussion about the difference between the percents?
Why? You mean
Yeah.
why they went with that? It had to do with the reduction of mill rate and how far we could get without an additional increase of the mill rate. What that exact increase is, I couldn't tell you right now, but it was, I think it was 3.3.
It's under 3.
Well, and I did want to say the Board of Finance looked at other departments as well. It wasn't like to lower the mill rate, they went to the Board of Ed. They went through the other departments and tried to take what they thought to be fair from several departments to get to that rate.
Okay, thanks.
One other comment was made to, this year, the Board of Finance received more capital requests than they'd ever received. And that was outside of the Board of Ed. They received more requests for capital funding than they'd ever received before, period. And then adding on, obviously, the Board of Eds to it, the conversation was that they were very unsure about what to do about that. But I'm very thankful for the 4.3, though I'm very concerned about the capital. And it'll be, I think, my focus, our focus, to continue to try to work through that, because we've still got the issues. So, and the non-lapsing is only going to get us so far.
Right. Go ahead, Nicole.
Are we going to talk about in the subcommittee meeting where we're going to save money in that .3 that we're missing?
I think it would be a little bit premature. We will see what happens at the town meeting and eventually with the vote before we start doing that.
Okay.
Questions or comments on that? No? Okay. All right. Administrators' reports. Are there any administrators who'd like to add to their reports?
You can go first, Rob. I just wanted to piggyback off the student representative about the SATs. They're all on the computer now, so the Chromebooks, the one-to-one, helps immensely with that. And another year that it went pretty much flawlessly, right? You didn't hear any issues. So,
oh, that's great.
The grades are the same with the computer, but I would think kids now would do better on the Chromebooks than they would on paper. So I just wanted to piggyback off of that.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Jack.
Hi, Rita.
The computers are here, the Chromeboxes are here. We'll be doing that next week during the spring break, so we won't interrupt the classes.
Nice.
Thanks, Chuck. Actually, that was one of my new updates. I did just want to share, hi everybody, that we had 82 eligible students to participate in the SATs, and right now we're presently at 93% participated. Actually, 2 new students, where some of the numbers are because we had 2 new students, sicknesses, and so they are makeup dates on 4/25th through April 28th. We'll have our makeups. I do want to publicly thank Zachary Johnson. He's what we call our testing coordinator. So he helps support all the administration of that pieces. I'm able to come and sort of just see, and as Jacques said, you're able to see that there were no techniques. He does a lot of the behind the scenes of importing students and things. So I do want to thank him for that support. And the other couple updates is I want to thank again for the support of the implementation of the iReady Diagnostics and Mathematics program. Our year one at LES is going incredibly successfully, as well as our second year at LMS. Case in point, actually, iReady has shared with districts across the state that our district has done a really fantastic job in supporting our teachers through the implementation, and also in our diagnostic supports for the student, that they actually are recommending districts who are interested in their program to come observe us. So last week, we were fortunate to have Brooklyn come and see our elementary staff. And again, they came to observe the teachers that had participated in the pilot program. So if you want to recognize those students who opened their classroom doors to visitors they didn't know, it was Lisa Gamache, Carolyn Provost, Jan Gervais, as well as Deb Ianni. And then we were able to get a little sub-coverage for a follow-up after the observation to debrief and kind of say the things that have been going well this year. And so they just absolutely praised the staff of the observations and the debriefs, and opportunity to collaborate and hear about iReady from our staff. So it was nice. And the teachers felt good about it too, because it is really incredibly hard to implement a new program. And so it was nice to hear that feedback from someone that had never, been into our school building. So along with that, we were able to, myself, Camilla, Nowaka kindergarten teacher, Adam Reynolds, 5th grade teacher, were able to attend the iReady conference, which is a 2-day conference up at Gillette Stadium. It's again an opportunity to really network and see incredible sessions, state-of-the-art mathematicians, and we were able to learn things as they are updating actually iReady, the slides, the cultural relevance, all those kind of pieces are really being upgraded to a 2024 version. And so we were able to see those updates, the relationships between teachers with student growth, as well as administrators and their piece in that. And so as a result, whenever anyone goes to a conference in our district, there's an expectation that we come back and share the wealth. And so we started doing that yesterday at the elementary school in grade level sessions. Friday was Math PLC for the middle school, so we shared those. And then Thursday is our admin that I'll share sort of the leadership piece and the components of the administration support with programs. So that was pretty exciting, so thank you for supporting those pieces. And two more things, sorry. Preschool readiness spots. So I applied for additional 6 seats. We've never, ever gotten extra seats. We did. And what that means, so presently we have 24 readiness spots, which presently takes funding so that we don't have to use our operating line. It pays for our full preschool teacher as well as a partial IA. And that's $108,000. It's been that way for many, many years. Now, as a result of the 6 additional seats, it's allowed us to have an additional $27,000 for next year, which will now, due to the increases of salaries, what's happened is we've never gotten an increase in the grant, but salaries keep increasing, so it becomes covering less and less. So it's exciting that these 6 seats were accepted, because now it truly will cover again, despite increases, a teacher full and even partially a second para in that program. So, and they're even prorating 8,100. So that means it will also cover fully the para this year. So that's great.
That's fantastic.
And then lastly, they talked about Career Day. I do want to thank Allie Fryer and Zachary Johnson, who gave me the opportunity to do education to the students. And it was really great. I got to do 3 sessions and talk not only about teachers, but other opportunities that you can have in education. I happen to have the East Con consultant, so she talked about if the public school, you could work for a regional RESC and do professional development. So the students were so engaged and they were great. And I think it's just a really nice day for students to see other opportunities and careers out there, especially as people aren't going into education. So, they had some good questions, and I was able to talk about all the different pieces. We even had a student teacher there who talked about the schooling and what it was like at Eastern presently going through that field. So a big thank you to Allie Fryer and Zachary Johnson who do help support that career day. So.
Thanks, Rita.
That's awesome, thank you.
Are there any other administrators who would like to add? Okay, we'll move along to our report of the superintendent.
All right, thank you. So the first thing I want to share is actually a pretty sad situation. Our community was devastated by the loss of a fifth grader, Jeremy Emberg. Our heart goes out to the family. There's really not much you can offer to help them feel better about this tragic situation that they're in, but he will be greatly missed in our schools, and it was nice to see how our students rallied to think of ways that we could do something. And Jeremy was a part of our unified sports team at the middle school, and that group came to me asking if we could plant a tree and get a plaque in his memory. So I was bringing that to the board tonight to make you aware of that, and that we will be moving forward with that. I spoke to the family, and they were appreciative of that kind gesture.
Thanks for doing that, Andy.
All right, moving on to our health update. So as of March 31st, we had 2 students who were positive cases who were isolating and 0 staff. So cumulative cases to this point in the year is 119, and for staff, it's at 48. So again, kudos to our health team and our teachers and students and families for being proactive in identifying what might be symptoms, staying home if needed, or getting medical attention as soon as possible. We are in a much better place than we were last school year. All right, so the next thing that is on the report of the superintendent is actually a presentation of our food service program. Bobby and Carlos, thanks for being with us on this beautiful night in Lebanon. If you come on up and join us to present. As they're getting ready, just to give you a little bit of background, I think I was personally getting a little bit tired of hearing, oh, school lunch is terrible, or you need to do something about what they're serving, when I have been in constant collaboration with Carlos and in communication with Bobby and working with Val, and see firsthand the things that they're trying to do to provide our students with a variety of options, to provide them with healthy options, and to be responsive to what they'd like to see on the menu. So we're trying to control the narrative a little bit more, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to publicly share with our community via our live stream here, and to also share with you so that you can feel informed about what's happening in our food service program. So I'll turn it over to Carlos and Bobby.
Thank you. Appreciate that support, Andy. And so I'm Carlos Cruz. I'm the Director of Dining Services for our district.
And I'm Bobby Martin. This is Carlos' sidekick here. I'm the area director for a big chunk of Connecticut. I cover from here in Lebanon to all the way down to Fairfield County, so several districts in between. Thank you for having me.
So our presentation, we have a brief presentation that's more or less to highlight some of the things, as Andy stated, some of the things that we've been doing to enhance the food service program. At any point, obviously, if you have any questions about anything that we are doing about any of the programs, feel free to stop and ask. There you go. So there's some of you might recognize that handsome guy there. It's me helping. But we have a real brief agenda that hopefully you all can see. And we're going to talk about, as I said, we're going to talk about some of the programs, some of the promotions that we've done over the last several months. We'll touch a little bit about Farm to School, and we'll finish off with some program upgrades for the district.
Yeah, so this is, we've done our introductions. One thing I'll highlight is, Carlos is a one-man show. He's got a team, but he has to support that team at the 3 schools. And then we do have regional support as well as needed. Tom O'Donnell is our regional vice president, who I report to. We have a regional executive chef, Chase Sobelman, regional dietitian, Sarah Patterson, director of marketing, Samantha Keem, and we have a financial analyst, Trudy Gall. They all support in some way, shape, or form, and at any needed moment, based on their concentration, they're able to support Carlos and Lebanon.
I'm very excited about this slide. This is our team. These are the folks that our kids see when they walk into the cafeteria. To the left, we have the crew at the elementary school, led by Maria, Sharon, and Amy. The middle group there is the middle school, led by Sally, Carissa, and Mike. And then to the right, we have the high school team, who's led by Kim, along with Georgia, Kathy, and Maria. So just so you know, as a combined experience for the district alone, there's 100 years experience just working for Lebanon Public Schools in the cafeteria with this team. So that's the backbone of what happens during food service. And I'm proud of what they do every day. We'll just talk a little bit about, so the school year, more or less, for us starts well before September. Our crew goes out for a break in June. We come back in late August, ready to work. We talk about breaks a little bit. We got to go through a little bit of training, a lot of refreshing. We go over any new updates, whether it's from USDA or from the state, which every year there seems to be some. We go over training, allergy training. We go through employee safety. Everyone's in summer mode, so when they come back, we want to make sure that they're back to work mode. And then we go over just food safety standards, which is obviously top priority. We want to make sure that wherever we're serving safely to our kids. So some of the things we've done progressively. So November, I'll just highlight a couple of points. So in November, we had a food science class from Ms. Grogan's class that came in and learned about food safety in an actual commercial kitchen in Lyman. So they spent, I think their class, it was November 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. They spent the day just learning about how the food that's served to them is kept safe from the farm all the way till the serving station. So we work with a program called MenuWorks from Chartwell's that required extensive training, actually, just in helping to make sure that menus are compliant, first of all. There's a variety of items, so it's not repetitive, et cetera, et cetera. So we did, that training was done November. December we have, and we typically have every December, directors meeting. This year was held in North Haven, where basically all the area directors and the hub team, which is the team that part of the team that you just saw, that support us, they come in and we all get a refresher and updates on anything that's new that we should be looking out for. In January, February, we started conversation with Put Local on Your Tray into how we could use that organization and help and collaborate, getting food from the farms directly to our kitchens. So they're going to help facilitate that process. So we're looking forward to that. And then we have a couple other things on the horizon that we are exploring. One of them is being composting. That's been something that's been brought up a few times, and that's, it will happen. It's just a matter of finalizing the plan and executing. All right. I'll talk real briefly about the menu development process. So we don't just, we don't just get a menu from Chartwell's corporate and say, here you go, put this out. The information that goes into the research in order to put out a menu from month to month comes typically from the students. So we, mainly I, take a lot of feedback from the students, and based on acceptability of items, of product, based on availability of items and product, menus are developed from month to month. And, we're basically down to, well, if, we made this meal and it's, doesn't matter how much work went into it, if the kids are not eating it, we're not going to continue to do it just because, we have to. We have the ability to pivot and improve on what we're doing. So the menu process starts, so we're already thinking about menus for fall of 2023. So there's a planning taking place already to develop, menus for the fall and move forward. So.
Mood Boost is one of our programs really driven towards our elementary students. And as Carlos was referencing menu development, this is a way to really incorporate healthy foods into those menus. So in the menu development, we really look at sampling things, and Carlos will get to one of our events back in February, but really, exposing the kids to different foods, things they wouldn't generally eat on a regular basis, or maybe they have challenges getting started with fruits and vegetables. But these characters connect to those fruits and vegetables, and they also come with a different feeling that they may have based on their mood, right? So each one's supposed to boost them into, being more open to trying the foods, connection to the character, and also recognizing how they feel when they eat those foods. So this has been a really successful one for us. It was we were awarded in a few different food service magazines pre-COVID, so it really launched right around 1920. We've really been able to sort of relaunch it since we've gotten back into the cafeterias post-COVID. But yeah, really, really fun activity and engaging opportunities for our elementary and actually middle school kids as well.
Some fun pictures from a recent event, an event we had on February 10th, and we basically sampled, we sampled 245 spinach strawberry salad with a homemade vinaigrette dressing. And if your kids tell you they don't like salad, I would double check that.
Totally double check. I was at the event.
We went through a lot of salad that day.
It was a huge amount of salad.
Yes, it was. We had, pretty sure we had nothing left over. It was a fun day.
Yeah, if they didn't like the vinaigrette, they wanted ranch and variety. So
but they ate the green stuff.
Yes, they did.
They ate the green stuff. They wanted their own dressing. We had some swag there too, some sunglasses and bracelets.
So these are just pictures of some of the things we do, and we actually do in the kitchen. We went through those couple of years of, during COVID where we were serving bag lunches. There's only so much you can do with bag lunches, but this is what we actually do. Food has color, it's vibrant. The kids love seeing it. They love having options and choices. One of the feedback that we received during our committee meetings, which we have at each one of our schools, food service committee meetings, is the kids want to have choices, more options, more choices. So we try to drive towards having a build your own, whatever it is. So build your own burgers, most popular day we have at Lyman. We have build your own salad, we have build your own pasta bar, build your own mac and cheese bar, et cetera, et cetera. And whenever we actually put that on the menu, it's like an event. They come out in droves for it. So, and when we talk about food and food quality, I'm sure you're probably aware that meals are free for students right now. The quality of the food does not increase just because the food is what we serve is free to to families, to the kids. So we continuously work on elevating what we do, and these are some of the results. So participation in all is high year over year. So it's increased year over year.
Yeah, so these are some of our branded concepts. Some have been around a while, some are fairly new. The mac and cheeseology, as Carlos mentioned, is to build your own mac and cheese bar. That's pretty new since returning to the cafeterias since COVID, and Revolution Noodle as well. And this is just representative of sticking with the current trends, right? So there's a lot of work put into what's going on out in other restaurants in the world, and what our kids are familiar with, and trying to replicate that in the cafeterias. Tomatoes, our pizza, Create is where we put a different cuisine in there, and again, allow the kids to build their own, as mentioned. Grilled is what it says, grilled, so it's generally your burgers and chicken sandwiches. Veg Out will speak about deli, right? Road Trip is a really cool one because it takes you a trip around, in most cases, the states, but we also have districts that have gone outward, and now we've launched another one called Global Eats, where, again, we take it around the world and identify different cuisine and again, it will be based on your particular demographic, right? So we try it out. If it works, great. If it doesn't, then we throw something else in. And we'll speak about student choice and how we identify the success in some of those dog concepts.
Can I ask a question? Those that you just mentioned, are those in all three of the schools or just in the high school?
Most are at the high school and the middle school.
Okay.
They're more, a lot of these programs are more directed to the middle and high school, where you have a little bit more flexibility. You can put out more options as well. There are some that are obviously, directed towards the elementary school as well. But the majority, reality, are mainly middle and high school.
Okay, thanks.
So the flexibility is key. There's a lot of things we can't do at the elementary school level based on, USDA regulations, state regulations.
And in elementary, we find that, a lot of it's just repetition. The kids like what they like, right? It's hard to really introduce them to a lot of things that they'll be consistently, grabbing every day. So we do stick with the staples, and we add different things based on, again, demographics and just trial and error.
So one of our programs that's pretty popular is Student Choice, and it's basically exactly what it says. They come in and they have it's a tasting, so they have a couple of options that we usually produce and put out, and with the aid of technology, they're able to select, either A or B, So on December 7th, we did a student choice tasting event at the high school. On January 11th, we did one here at the middle school, and it's just really well received. Basically the kids are choosing what they want to see in the menu. So these on the middle school one, for example, we had patty melt versus a Nashville chicken sandwich. And the Nashville chicken sandwich won, and the next week it was on the menu. So when they saw it on the menu, they were like, wow, okay, well, someone's listening, right? So that's basically how that program works. So.
And by the way, that translated to home, because we all heard all about that. Yes.
That was like the biggest news ever.
It was.
Oh God, they are like, it's gonna run out, we had to get one.
It's on their regular menu.
Yeah, that was quite the event. A bunch of photos.
Yeah, there's a few more photos from both of those events, the middle school, and there's a few there from the high school. I'm just going to do a quick pause and just ask if anyone has any questions related to any of the programs or promotions, anything before we keep going. All right.
So I spoke about Veg Out as one of our branded concepts, and again, it's just really about introducing them to different fruits and vegetables they may not be familiar with, even the combinations, right? So the spinach and strawberry. Carlos did a really good job with connecting the two, the Veg Out program with the Mood Boost. There was one on there called Extra Extra as well. It's sort of like, again, those added items, components that we're also required to offer as part of the USDA program. So, it's just good for them to see, again, fresh, local at times, as much as we can get it in there. And go home and talk about it. And hopefully, they continue to, want to explore those different options at home as well.
The Mood Boost, we've been running at the elementary school on Fridays during lunch. So we've been introducing a lot of different vegetables and fruits on a Friday so that they can go home for the weekend and talk about it and ask you for them.
Or not.
Well, as long as they're having it somewhere. So keeping it local. I mentioned before the Put Local on Your Tray, which is actually an organization that's an extension of UConn. And we have been in contact and communication with them. I've been in communication with them. And ways for them to facilitate getting local foods, right from the farm to our kitchens. And I've had conversations with a couple of the local farmers, and in conjunction with folks that run this program. And I'm actually pretty excited because we have some great things on the horizon, just based on when certain things are growing, et cetera, et cetera. So we're looking. Obviously we are in April, so we are really focused on fall as soon as we are back to start on the right foot with taking advantage of some of these collaborations. Primarily, apples, lettuce, tomato, things that we can use in the school. We're going to take full advantage of it. There is a grant that I understand that's going to be rolling out. That is, its sole focus is to help get local on your tray, basically, on the kids' tray.
Yeah, we have our Broadline produce company. They do work that we're contracted with. They work with a lot of Connecticut farmers. It's really just about the partnership, whether the farmer wants to participate in that program or not. But we're continuing to grow that as well. Environmental refreshes, again, just trying to stay up to speed on the ever-changing world around especially our kids with technology and the things they see out there, and making sure that we keep our cafeterias up to par with those changes. So we have a few environmental refreshes, market design and pop art concept are the two that have been incorporated here at Lebanon. And you can see the descriptors there. One's a farmer's market sort of theme. The other one is more artistic, has some feels of Andy Warhol and Keith Haring. So, again, those are options, again, to sort of refresh the look of the cap and, again, engage the kids.
So we actually, we introduced pop art at the elementary school. We figured that was a better fit for the elementary school, and then the market concept we introduced to the middle school as well as the high school. This was done last spring, so a year ago. All right, we're also, we'll touch on some of the facility improvements to food service that we've been able to get done the last couple of years. We were able to replace a 55-year-old dishwasher, piece of equipment that had been there that was extremely inefficient. We replaced that last year, or the beginning of this school year. We had a convection oven, two convection ovens that were close to 50 years old as well, that were being called out to be repaired, once or twice a month. So we got those two. It looks like everything was done for the elementary school, but apparently that's where some of the older equipment was. We replaced the hot box, food storage. We replaced one that was there for I think a couple of decades as well. And we also we were able to distribute smallwares to all the schools. So spoons, serving utensils, pans, etc., etc. We did that in the spring of last year as well. We have a couple other things planned. Actually, point of sale, the computer system, it's actually already been approved. That's going to be an upgrade for all 3 schools, just to maximize efficiency, and as well as the steamer, that's the one that's still planned. To be replaced, a steamer at the elementary school. So these are all done just based on from money from grants, from the success of the program. We've been able to reinvest back into the program. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Let's say we wanted to grow a garden at the middle school. Would we be able to incorporate any of that food in the menu?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we utilize some product at the high school with Mrs. Rogan. So whenever product is available, whatever items are available, whether it be tomatoes or herbs or whatever they grow in there, she would communicate with me. She'll let me know, I have this, overabundance, wherever it is, you want to bring, I'll bring them down and we'll incorporate it, into the menu. So I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do it at the middle school.
Amy Reynolds, you heard that?
Also, we have in Roberts, it's been an issue based on supply chain, but we still have our garden box.
Yes. It's a farm shop.
Farm shop. So it's basically hydroponics, and we're going to place it in the cafeteria. So yeah, we've had some challenges with receiving that based on some sort of supply chain issues to build it, I guess, but still en route. So.
Good.
But if there's someone that you want to get in contact with myself that manages a garden, I certainly can get that conversation with them.
Okay, we're gonna build the garden and then we're gonna talk.
Sounds awesome. Thank you guys both so much. I know you just made us hungry, because we've been here a while, but thank you both so much for this. Was helpful.
There's a hand in the crowd.
I just want to say something to you guys. So I will say this is my 19th year at the middle school, and the new staff in the cafeteria are phenomenal. They learn every kid's name in the first month of school. I'm not even kidding you. They knew every 5th grader before I feel like I did. And I just I know the kids will love Mike.
Yeah.
He's just, I just want to say, like, the whole vibe of the cafeteria has really just made me feel like we love it, so I just want to give you guys a shout out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
It
it.
makes a big difference.
Thanks, Amy.
And by the way, Carlos, just so you know, that when I ask my kids how was lunch today, they always say it was bussin'.
That's what, I don't know how you can improve on that.
We had that written on one of the votes for the student choice, and I didn't know what it meant, and I had to ask everyone. He clarified.
Thanks again, it's been great partnering with Val, and thank you, Superintendent Gonzalez, for inviting us. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yes, and
Thank you for
the
coming.
Pictures you saw today were actually taken by our junior photographer.
Yes, that's her sidekick.
You too, thanks. Okay, now
you,
that
guys.
we're all starving. All right, the long-term study.
Yes, so at that most recent Board of Finance meeting, the conversations about what the Board of Ed or me specifically could do as some next steps, they had suggested that I reach out to CABE, the Connecticut Associations of Boards of Education, and CAPS, the Connecticut Associations of Public School Superintendents, to see if they had recommendations. They don't recommend vendors, but they do know of districts who had good luck with vendors. It was something that I had already done somewhat indirectly because I had reached out to superintendents that I knew had been through renovation projects or things of that nature, and that's how I got the SLAM Corporation. But when I reached out to CABE and CAPS in particular, I got a company called Malone and MacBroom that Fairfield had used. That came from CAPS, and then CABE said that their staff was aware that district had some positive experiences with Malone and McBroom and SLAM. So it was good to know that SLAM came up again, and when I looked further into Malone and McBroom, it was actually acquired by SLR International Corporation in 2020, and they unfortunately no longer provide this service. So just wanted to let you know that I did follow up on that suggestion, and it does look like SLAM is a reputable corporation that still performs that type of service. Further to Sarah's point, talking about the initial ideas for the formation of a committee, while I do think, similar to our discussion about what we would possibly cut if the budget's approved, it's somewhat getting ahead of ourselves to form a committee without knowing if we're going to be able to go forward with the project. So I'm ready and really eager to do that, but I'd like to know that we're going to be able to move forward before I start to arrange meetings and engage in those types of conversations. But I would love to have a Board of Selectmen member, a Board of Finance member, some members from our Board of Education, community members. I would be involved, obviously, maybe some members from the PTO or PTA, a booster club parent. I do want to be really cognizant that this committee needs to be diverse, but also needs to be equitably distributed. I don't want there to be 10 members of, pro-education and then, somebody, one member from the community. I want to try to make it a team that's well representative of what the needs are and the desires of the community, because I feel this will be a large community project. Sarah also talked about the 23-24 budget. I do want to say, and this is becoming a trend in a very positive way, I have felt extremely supported when I've spoken to and in front of or presented to the Board of Finance. Leading up to this most recent meeting and at this most recent meeting. To piggyback off what Sarah said, there was nothing but compliments about what we've been able to do as a team on the Board of Education, what our staff has been able to do, all the way down to what our students are doing. They spoke about enrollment and revenue and performance on assessments, etc. They feel that we've been very responsive to what they're asking from us, and they felt that they needed to show that. I feel that 4.32 number is very supportive of the direction that we need to take our learners, to support our staff, and to continue to strive to excellence.
Great, thank you, Andy. Any questions or comments on that? No? All right, we'll see what that, where that conversation brings us after the public hearing.
Yes, the public hearing is April 17th, and it will be right here in the Lyman Auditorium.
All right, great, thank you. How about the 22-23 budget?
My plan is to, I know we had March and April meetings. Be February, March financials, so I'm looking forward to March, if you don't mind. I have some notes at the bottom of where we're at the end of March, showing us at a very healthy spot in our 5-year comparison. Some continuation of what happened in February, where our excess costs, our first payment was received for excess cost reimbursement, intending to offset and help the budget for the overages in tuition and pupil transportation for our out-of-state students. You will now see, as we anticipated, overages in heating oil due to the price that we actually were able to secure. I believe it was last May, we actually secured oil prices indifferent from what we budgeted. So we've had those discussions in the subcommittee meetings, and luckily it's April, and it was warm. It was a warm year, so I don't project. I remember during last budget season, we talked a lot about how much do we think we're going to go over. It was in the upwards of like 95,000. So seeing this report at the end of March, knowing that March deliveries were paid and where the overage is, I'm looking for, I think, 43,000. I don't anticipate us, amounting to the $95,000 mark. But I do keep in close contact with Kevin because he has meters on those oil tanks and he can see when they need oil. So we'll be continuing those discussions, obviously, as the winter closes out. Electricity budget has also resulted now in an overage in a whole. I believe the overage actually lives in the elementary school. But I do believe that that's a part of the new payments that we've taken on now that the lighting project is complete. There are loans for the project, so that represents the increase in addition to the solar. And obviously, we all know the increases in Eversource's delivery. We are locked in for supply, luckily, as a school district and town, but Eversource's increases are part of that as well, so. That was a mouthful, I feel like.
Any questions for Val?
Sorry.
Valerie?
Yeah.
I can't seem to remember in my notes, but when we did the lighting project, did we do the gym? Did we put new lights in there?
I wasn't here.
Does anyone remember?
I don't believe so.
I want to say no, because I don't think the lighting is bright in there. And I wanted to know what was the reason for that. I know there was a reason, but I don't know what it is, so.
Which gym? LES?
LMS.
Oh, yeah, no. That's not, those are not new lights.
Right, and so what was the reason why we skipped over that? I don't remember. Rob, do you remember? No? All right, I'll have to do some research.
I'm sure we could look back in the Earthlight, to the Earthlight quotes that we received. I know we were emailed them.
Yeah, so now that the lighting project is over, I just want to know, like, if we had to revisit it, can we? So.
Okay. You had a question, Brian?
So, Valerie, at our last subcommittee, we hadn't gotten, obviously, March's numbers yet because we weren't through March.
Right.
So
Yeah.
this will be more, I guess, generic and we can talk about it at the next subcommittee. But just doing, my own basic math of 25% of the year left, basically through the end of June.
Yep.
And I just use that as my ever so simple barometer. So
Yeah,
anything
sure.
that was over 25% remaining, and I only did positives. There are several accounts that have got some fairly significant overages.
Right.
So, well, at least up to this point.
Yep.
And I took into account the encumbered. So I'm just curious, maybe we can talk about for that next round, where we think that we're gonna go.
For year end.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Just trying to get a little,
Yeah. so
I'm trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel on that, the color of the light on that train
Yeah, that's
before it gets
okay.
here, so.
And so there's an exercise that we go through in April too, in our, to start looking at purchase orders that might have been opened in the beginning of the year.
Right.
That we haven't used at this point. And that is some really low hanging fruit too, because it happens. So I'll make an effort to see if I can look into that even before we discuss the end of the year, to make sure we have cleaner encumbrances.
Yeah, one thing that from a facilities and also a budgeting standpoint, that I don't, piques my interest. I won't use the word concern, but 420, repair and maintenance on equipment. So there's still 69, almost 70% of that budget left, or about $34,000. And, we know we've got some issues still going on. So particularly on the M&R, certainly we have, account we can use for emergencies, but I want to make sure that we are nailing our operating
That
budget.
grouping of 420 consists of 22 different accounts throughout the district. A lot of small amounts for, the shop class, the art class for their kiln. There's stuff in there for VOAGs, so it's not like one account with that amount left. We would definitely have to, make sure that no one else is intending to utilize the funds in their instruction. You know what I mean? A lot of them are instructional.
Okay, yeah, and it's,
So we can look at, if you want, I can show you that detail too, so we can look at.
well, it's more, like I said,
I know what you mean though.
but there are, that's one of them, but there are several accounts that,
Sure.
up to and including computers and supply, stuff in that line item in 620, or phys ed supplies, or testing supply, is just more.
Sure.
Like I said, I just use a basic barometer of 25%, so there's nothing, there wasn't any advanced math that went on, but we can talk about that, certainly.
Sure.
Next time around.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. No problem. There's no more questions on operating. Should I just go through the facilities tracking real quick?
Sure.
So some payments were sent out in March for exhaust fans, particularly related to an air compressor at Lyman. We had finally paid for the scissor lift. And a deposit was given for Sullivan paving for the new spots in the cul-de-sac LMS, the ADA compliant spots. And then we have some new activities finally on non-lapsing. We've been talking a lot about it, and now we can start to see some of the payments coming out. I was able to update our spreadsheet tracking list to include the new approved projects. And so we'll start to now see the actuals come in up against what we approved. And we've already sent $25,000 out for the safety and security stuff, so those are the big camera projects. Yes.
The line striping at the parking spots, that was done last spring. They repainted them?
They just did ADA handicap spots in the cul-de-sac in the middle school. I think it was additional. There's like 2 or 3 spots.
Not in the back by the baseball?
Yeah,
Okay,
in
got
the
it.
way back, yeah.
Got it, thank you.
Yep.
Speaking of the baseball stadium, do we have any projected date on when paving is going to be done on that erosion area?
I don't know that yet. That would be a great question for Kevin.
Okay.
Now that the weather might be here, right?
Yeah, and then now baseball's in full swing, so it's like, are you going to interrupt, that? Yeah.
I was told it was the second week of April. I forget, Andy.
You had to wait for the plants to open.
Right.
Okay. So that will not interrupt baseball season?
We're gonna do our best.
Okay.
I mean, it shouldn't take all that long for it to dry.
All right.
Sure.
Anything from trial balance, Bill?
No, so those trial balancers are our technology capital and athletics capital. So you see some payments going out in March for student interest, plans through Apple and their Chromebooks, the vendors there. And then we haven't spent anything in athletics, but we're still waiting the scoreboard. So that is theoretically, encumbered in that 30,000. I think it was like $7,500. I imagine we might be, I haven't talked to anybody about it, but I imagine we just might be experiencing supply chain issues or something. It's ordered, we just don't have it, yeah. That should be it.
Any other questions for Val on budget? All right, thanks, Val.
Thank you.
All right, now we have some new business. We have some deletions in policy and one new policy, cybersecurity. Just for a first reading, make sure you take a look at all of those for next month. Brings us to action items. Action item number 1, act on letters of resignation.
I'll move that we accept the letters of resignation with regret.
Second.
Motion by John, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Action item number 2, act on the 2023 graduation date. I believe we're going to get some information from Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, so we are going to go out on a limb here and say that we're not going to have any more weather-related cancellations. We are looking to set the Lyman Memorial High School graduation date of Tuesday, June 13th.
Any, is there a motion on the floor?
So moved, yes, I make a motion.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Make a motion that we set graduation.
Graduation date for Tuesday, June 13th.
Motion by Brian, seconded by Maureen. Any discussion? Yes.
Just a couple things for you all to be aware of. So typically we do the Lyman graduation on, let's say, Tuesday, and then the day before is the middle school, and then the day before is the elementary school. There was a trip that was trying to be organized by a group of middle school families to provide an opportunity for students that they didn't get because it went away kind of during COVID. We were trying to be flexible with that. It ended up falling through, but we had moved the middle school to take the place of the elementary school. So here's how it's going to play out. Friday will be the middle school, so Friday, June 9th, and then Monday, the 12th, will be the elementary school. Doesn't impact the Lyman or the last day of school, just a little bit of a rearrange. We will make sure that we communicate very quickly after this meeting if the 13th is the date that's set.
Last day of school is June 13th.
Correct. And?
We also have a Board of Education meeting on Tuesday, June 13th, so the board will have to consider when they'd like that meeting to take place.
With this decision, we'll have to cancel that meeting and schedule a special meeting in replacement. Hopefully one day, either before the 13th. Yes, I'll just leave it at that, and after we decide this, we'll determine June's Board of Education meeting at the next meeting.
I have a question about, had we officially switched LES and LMS?
we are going to, because
Why would
we...
they still switch it if they're not?
Because there were internal conversations that were taking place, and we're just going to stick with it. Is that,
I don't see the need to change it, because it's never been changed in the calendar.
but it was never set on the calendar.
You know, that they're also planning other events at the school for year end, so they might have already made those arrangements and will now have to make them back.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if someone already put the horse before the cart before the horse, I guess you can't go back now, but in the future, I don't think people should be doing that without the calendar being approved.
Noted.
Change. Thanks for clarifying.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of approving June 13th as Lyman Memorial Graduation, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Action item number 3, act on the 23-24 revised calendar.
So we would like to remove the early dismissal for the middle school on the days of January 16th through the 19th. This has been a past practice that I don't know was thoroughly explored to see if there was an alternative. We want our kids to be in school for as many minutes as possible, and we just assumed that busing would be an issue. And I had conversation with M&J who said busing would not be an issue. So we're able to have early release days for the high school during their exams, but still have full school days for the middle school and elementary. So that's what we'd like to plan for.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Make a motion that we eliminate the early dismissal days for the middle school from January 16th to the 19th.
I'll second that.
Okay, so making a revision to the 2023-24 calendar with those added revisions. Hannah, did you get that okay? Okay, thank you. Motion by Brian, seconded by Maureen. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Action item number 4, act on the LMHS girls' locker room bid. You want to give us a little bit more background, Mr. Gonzalez?
Absolutely. So we went out to bid one time and only had one person show up to the walkthrough. We were not satisfied with that, so we went out to bid a second time. We had 4 people show up with a range of prices. One of the companies that showed up had previously done work at the high school and was a very competitive bid price. They are familiar with our master lock key scheme that we would like to do. So that was the recommendation that we would bring today to award this bid to CSNE LLC.
And Nicole, your subcommittee recommended the same, correct? Okay. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make a motion that the board accepts CSNE LLC for the girls' locker room update.
Sure. Can you just say also the total amount?
$37,740.
To be used from?
Capital. It might need some non-lapsing funds to cover it, though.
Okay.
How much non-lapsing? Yes, part of the motion.
Not much, not more than X. Do you have an X?
From non-lapsing.
There's 35,000, 30,000 in the account now, and we're holding about 7,500, let's say, for the clock, right? So that leaves 22,500. The remaining of athletic.
So 15.
So, use of non-lapsing to not exceed $16,000?
Yeah, you could say up to, or yeah.
Not to exceed.
I would second that.
Okay. So,
Let's start over.
yes.
From capital.
Motion to approve CSNE, wait, we did this twice, CSNE LLC for $37,740 for
From
One
capital.
Memorial High School girls locker room upgrade, of which $22,500 will come from capital. And then not to exceed $16,000 from non-lapsing.
Seconded.
Great job. You got it, Hannah? Awesome, thank you. Any discussion? Go ahead, Danelle.
Just, maybe I shouldn't ask this because your committee already talked about it. I just noticed one of the bids includes removal, and I don't see it on the one we're proposing. Does anybody know? If not, I don't want to take any more time.
Go
I
ahead,
do
Alexis.
remember, I attended the meeting, and I believe that question was asked, and Kevin did say they were removing them.
I think they
Yeah.
just didn't specify it in the same way as the other bid.
I think you're right, Alexis. I remembered that too. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. All right, action item number 5, act on utilizing non-lapsing funds for crack repair on the tennis courts.
I guess you smile or you're gonna cry type of thing. So these cracks, when we fix them year over year, it prevents them from widening, but not elongating. So as the weather happens year to year and we get that freeze and thaw, this is going to continue to happen. So this is something we've talked about, and unfortunately it's not in the capital request again for this year. That's where I think it should be moving forward, because it's going to be something that needs to be addressed unless we're going to look at a total repair or resurfacing of that tennis court. So tonight we'd like to get approval to use non-lapsing in the amount of $8,711 to make the repairs to the cracks on the tennis courts so that our games can be held on their home court.
Go ahead, Danelle.
Have the cracks already been repaired?
Yes.
These are additional cracks.
Oh, these are more cracks?
They're not getting wider,
or
they're
these
getting
are-
narrower.
No.
You repaired it last year, I understand that. But I
Yes.
was at a match yesterday and I saw
Yes.
like sand color
Yes.
repairs. That's new.
Yes.
So
that's
that's already
what we're
been
paying
done for this year.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's what we're paying for.
Is it going to be painted also?
They are going to come back after the season.
Okay.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve the $8,711 from non-lapsing to repair the elongated cracks on the tennis courts.
I'll second.
Motion by Nicole, seconded by John. Any discussion? Brian? She stepped out.
I have nothing. I guess I do. I wanted to know where we were, because we took some non-lapsing, a decent chunk off it last month or, a month before, working some stuff down. I just was curious where we were at. As we tick some of these items off. Last one she goes back.
Yep. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Action number 6, act on utilizing non-lapsing funds for the special education equipment.
So we need a seating option so that a student can work on more independent transfers and sitting at varying heights at tables with their peer. And this is something that was not budgeted for and is emergency special ed expense at this point.
Okay, in the amount of
$4,535.
$4,535.
Yes.
Is there a motion on the floor?
Motion to approve the special seating in the amount of $1,000.
$535.
From ours. Non-lapsing.
Okay, motion by Nicole, seconded by Brian. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Val, while you were out, there was just a question of, after these action items tonight, if they pass, where will we be with non-lapsing?
Sure.
If you don't mind. Thank you. Action number 7, act on the purchase of a POS system for food service.
So, Carlos had made a request for me to waive the bid process for this. Going with a different software vendor would have resulted in a much higher cost, and it would have also disrupted service. This is something that was needed. I approved that waiver. So the total price is $11,925.
And this is funded through that, the
Food service.
food service program.
Yeah.
Right.
One program.
Okay.
And I just want to make a comment that I have not been able to upgrade any of that with capital money. So those systems were here when I came in and probably a few years before I was here. So that's going to be a big help. Those machines are always giving the idea.
Maybe not as old as the dishwasher, but close.
Dishwasher, what's a dishwasher?
Okay, is there a motion on the floor?
Make a motion that we spend $11,925 on upgrading the point of sale system for the food service, utilizing funding from the food service account.
Second.
Thank you. Motion by Brian, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion?
Yes. Will this make purchasing easier?
This is a whole point of sale system.
Yeah.
And we can use the cards like we do at the elementary school. I mean, we've actually started using the cards at the middle school and the high school. So, yeah, I mean, they're built-in scanners that will read the cards and the cash register that opens up. Right now, we have one that doesn't even open anymore by itself. Yeah.
So it's sort of like a credit card system where the kids just swipe with their card?
Yeah, sort of, yeah, exactly like that. It scans, it reads the student number, it reads how much money they have on their account, and then we'll deduct according to what they purchased.
Perfect, thank you.
But using the card isn't required, right? There's still cash sales.
They can punch in a number, yeah. Unfortunately, the middle school kids, it's very tough to get them to carry that card and not lose that card. We'd love to actually implement it somehow. Hopefully, when Chad gets in, we could talk about some creative ways of having the kids maybe have like a student card like the high school does, so we could use those. That would make the lunch people very happy to use those. I know the elementary schools use them, but they hold on to them for the kids, which is a lot easier. So if we could implement that at all three schools, it would help them out. I mean, they only have 20 minutes to eat, and if it takes them 20 minutes to cash all the kids out, how much time do you have to eat?
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously.
Spending a lot of money.
Okay, act on compliance with the Connecticut nutrition standards for the 2023-24 school year. Did you want to give any background?
Well, a vote is required for all Board of Eds that participate in the National School Lunch Program. So we have to vote yes or no to participate in the healthy food option pursuant to Section 10-215F and following nutrition standards. There is very specific motion language that needs to be read.
Now, before you start, Hannah, this is in the board packet.
It's on page 82.
On page 82 and 83. Okay?
Every year, maybe.
Okay.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that pursuant to CGS Section 10-215F, the Lebanon Public Schools District certifies that all food items offered for sale to students in the schools under its jurisdiction and not exempted from the Connecticut nutrition standards published by the Connecticut State Department of Education will comply with the Connecticut nutrition standards during the period of July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. This certification shall include all food offered for sale to students separately from reimbursable meals at all times and from all sources, including but not limited to school stores, vending machines, school cafeterias, culinary programs, and any fundraising activities on school premises sponsored by the school or non-school organizations and groups.
Way to go.
Great job. Thank you, John. Motion by John, seconded by Alexis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Action item number 9, act on the exclusion of selected foods and beverages from the Connecticut Nutrition Standards for 2023-2024 school year.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that the Lebanon Public School District will allow the sale to students of food items that do not meet the Connecticut nutrition standards and beverages not listed in Section 10-221Q of the Connecticut General Statutes, provided that the following conditions are met. 1, the sale is in connection with an event occurring after the end of the regular school day or on the weekend. 2, the sale is at the location of the event. And 3, the food and beverage items are not sold from a vending machine or school store. An event is an occurrence that involves more than just a regularly scheduled practice, meeting, or extracurricular activity. For example, soccer games, school plays, and interscholastic debates are events, but soccer practices, play rehearsals, and debate team meetings are not. The regular school day is the period from midnight before to 30 minutes after the end of the official school day. Location means where the event is being held and must be the same place as the food and beverage sales.
Second.
Every year we do this.
So great, John. Motion by John, seconded by Alexis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
John, the state says next year you have to memorize.
Next year. Yeah.
No.
Next year will be great.
All right, action item number 10, act on the 23-24 tuition rates. General education rate for contractual sending towns, general rate for children of staff members, and special services rates for sending towns.
All right, so for the general education tuition rate, we are proposing for the 2023-2024 school year a 2% increase for contractual sending towns, and then children of staff would then pay 25% of that general education tuition. Just something to note, and I neglected to bring this up in some of the conversations with Board of Finance, we do have contracts with sending towns, and the tuition rate may not increase more than 2.5% each year.
Forgot about that. Okay, so that is 10A and 10B.
And for special education, we are proposing no change to the rates.
Any motion on the floor?
So I'll make a motion that for the 2023-2024 school year, that we approve a 2% increase from the contractual sending towns, 25% of the general education, and that there will be 0 increase in special education.
You want the numbers too?
It sounds like 25% increase.
25% of general ed, so.
For who?
For the children. Yep, got it.
There we go.
No, second.
Motion by Brian, seconded by Alexis. Did you get that, Hannah, all set? Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Thank you. All right, action items, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Maureen?
Well, those four are updates to policies we've already had, and I would recommend that we just pass those as a second reading. I'll make a motion even, that we pass those four.
And I'll even second it.
Oh, okay, I'll get motion by Maureen, seconded by John. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously.
Now, items 15, 16, and 17 are new policies that we had to adopt based on things that are going on in the legislature, et cetera, and I will make a motion that we adopt these three as well.
Just a second.
Motion by Maureen, seconded by Danelle. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Passes unanimously.
Items 18 through 22 are policies we've looked at. Most of them are very old, and we've decided that they are no longer necessary based on discussions with our committee and with the lawyers, and I make a motion that we delete those.
Motion by Maureen, seconded by Brian. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously. Whew, great job, guys. Now we have a anticipated executive session on the agenda.
Can I make a motion that we enter into executive session inviting Superintendent Gonzalez for the purpose of discussing negotiations with the Lebanon Association of Educational Secretaries, Lebanon Association of Instructional Assistants, and discussing non-renewal of non-tenured teachers.
Second.
Motion by John, seconded by Alexis. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously, and we will go into executive session at 9:30. Thank you very much.